Hi, everybody. I'm Scott.
And I'm Luke.
And I'm Jonathan.
And this is the No Way to Hollywood podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Always the same thing now. I got nothing to go off. I was always riffing off of his thing. Now it's just thank you. So you know what I'm going to say?
For joining us.
You son of a biscuit.
Biscuits.
Dude, biscuits
Biscuits.
with gravy, though?
Biscuit dough hands, man.
Breakfast pork gravy.
Biscuits and gravy. Now that's a movie right there.
Biscuits and gravy.
Yeah.
We will not be talking about the biscuits and gravy movie that we'll be making later on in our lives.
Doesn't exist. It's not going to exist. It's not going to happen.
I mean, they did make like Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, right? So like,
Yeah, well, the proverbial they, are generally dumb.
okay, but they aren't a proverbial. They're literally the people who made that movie.
That's our studio name. We should call our studio They.
They.
It's a they movie. They
they
made
movie.
that one movie.
They made that one movie.
Made that one movie.
So we have to make a movie called That
Yeah,
One Movie.
that one movie. Who made it? They did.
Man.
We made all the sense thing. All you do is put that verb in there. Made.
You know, gentlemen, as much as it's fun to
Do
talk-
Abbott and Costello.
Yeah.
Who's on first?
Moderate, buddy.
What's on second?
You.
I don't know what's going on third.
Who?
Gentlemen,
I really need to know who's on first.
there was a couple episodes ago that I realized, we haven't progressed in our talking about Star Wars movies. A long time ago, in a galaxy not so far, far away,
Wait a minute.
we discussed
Oh, it's our guy. Okay.
a movie called, originally just Star Wars, but what became Star Wars A New Hope.
Wow, we talked about that, I guess. Hey,
And-
super fans.
And until Mandalorian, we hadn't talked about Star Wars in an episode exclusively again.
Okay, so are you suggesting that maybe we should talk about Princess Diaries 2?
That's a lot like Star Wars.
Sequels. No. We are talking about The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, okay.
Before,
Which, of course, is very close to a Princess Diaries Part 2.
Now, for a lot of people that I know, especially...
Samsonite, I was way off.
Wow, we are already way off this podcast.
Oh, my
Sorry.
goodness.
You were
I'm
saying
trying so
you were doing a
hard.
great
You're
job.
doing a good
You're
job.
doing a great job.
Sorry.
Luke's doing a terrible job.
Yeah,
You're doing a
it's
great
true.
job.
According
And I'm not
to
helping.
a lot of Star Wars fans that I talk to anyways,
A lot.
they seem to think that The Empire Strikes Back is the best of the original trilogy. Gentlemen, why would somebody think that?
Because it's true.
Because people are insane.
And those are the two sides. That's it.
All
There's no
right.
middle ground here.
I'll be the judge.
Oh.
Jonathan, make your case.
It's the best because it has the most character development. You get into the characters in a way you hadn't before. You get Luke and Leia and that whole story. You get, you get Han and Leia and that whole story. You get Luke learning to become a Jedi. You get one of the biggest confrontations in all of the Star Wars universe, which is, of course, Luke and Darth Vader facing off at the end.
No, I am your father.
You get Yoda for the very first time, and that entire representation of what the Force is personified in a little puppet. And you have you get the Battle of Hoth, you get the asteroid field, you get Cloud City, Lando Calrissian, the only black man. I'm sorry, now like the second black man in all of Star Wars. There's just really good stuff. Now, I have to say, as a disclaimer, I don't know if anything in Star Wars beats the end of A New Hope. Like, I don't know if any one sequence beats the one sequence of
Stay
the
on
trench run.
target.
Like that sequence is just
Stay on
so
target.
good. But as a whole movie, typically Empire Strikes Back tends to be the best one because it has the most character development.
Luke, why are people insane?
Okay, I overstated slightly.
Just a little bit. It's that they're greatly insane.
Okay, at least growing up, I did not enjoy Empire as much. It's got a downer ending, which is
True.
good because like you actually like it it's very important from a filmmaking standpoint,
Yes.
right? Like, we actually have a middle chapter where everything gets real bad toward the end there,
Yeah.
right? And then it's like, okay, so we had this new hope, and it was like, yeah, we're finally gonna, and then it's like, and nope, the Empire's coming back and gonna kick your butt. Are you gonna be able to get up again, right? So like,
They're striking back, if you will.
yeah, right.
Yeah, yeah.
So like, there are some good thematic, interesting things with it.
Mm-hmm.
I, as an audience member, did not have as much fun. And I know that there are lots of people out there who are like throwing popcorn at the screen now and like, cursing my name because they're
I'm
like,
just really excited people have popcorn while they're watching the
Luke.
podcast.
dude, yeah,
No.
awesome.
Good job.
Yes,
I am
thank
your
you.
father.
Right. For me,
Spoilers.
for me, growing up, it was definitely Return of the Jedi, that I had the most fun with.
Yeah.
Super
Right.
awesome starship battle.
Right. There's that. You've got Slave Leia. You've got like
Great battle sequence on the ground for that whole skiff.
Yep.
you know?
You've got so many good things. You've got some good lines. Like
Yoda
Redemption.
returns.
Right. How you doing? How we doing?
And
Sam is
dies.
always that bad, huh? Like you've got some really good stuff, and you've got some good fun things. You've also got like some super awesome corn where it's like, I can't see anything. Your eyesight will return in time. Who are you? Someone who loves you. And it's great. Like it's so good, right? Like there's some good stuff with that. You also have Luke kind of coming into himself, right? Where it's like you're gonna let my friends go. And it's like,
Yeah, he's,
no,
he's,
you're
he's
not.
a Jedi master. At
Right,
the end.
and then it's like, well, I'm
Beginning,
going to give you to
actually.
a Rancor, and you're like, Rancor, and then like they came up with like those Tamagotchi Rancor, like pets, like that was legit. Okay, so I always
There
enjoyed
was a
that. Now,
Tamagotchi Rancor pet?
yeah, and
Why did I
fed them-
not find
you fed
out
them-
about
You
this?
fed them Jedi.
That is amazing. That is amazing.
So like, there's a lot. Like for me, there's a lot of really great stuff in Jedi. Now,
That
being
being said,
older
we're not talking
and
about
watching
Jedi.
there are problems with the ending, especially
Ewoks.
not
little
just
teddy
the
bears.
Well,
music.
All
Okay.
over that.
Okay,
baby.
but
just-
right now we're talking about
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back.
They don't even
So,
say Utini.
We'll do another
But-
episode later about
No
Return of the Jedi and talk
But
about
I-
all the problems.
I do
And all
like
the
Hoth.
greatest things.
I do like Hoth. I
mean-
think like there's some really good stuff there from. I mean, not just a design and execute and
Walkers,
like world.
dude.
Yeah, the walkers. Like when you're getting out there with those
They
things.
show you what it's like to be the Rebel Alliance in
Yeah.
that first sequence
Yeah.
of events, right? It's just like, first of all, you're hiding on a really cold ice planet. The local creatures will try to kill you. The Empire's
Yeah.
looking for you, and when they do find you, they just send this overwhelming force that's like seemingly
Yeah.
impossible to beat.
Right. And you thought it was cold on the outside, or it smelled bad on the outside.
And you thought it smelled bad on
Right,
the
but, like,
outside.
you've got all of this good stuff and world building things. You've got the relationship, yes, of Han and Leia, and like how that's kind of been playing out for a while, right? And seeing all that's some good stuff.
Introduction of bounty
Yoda.
hunters.
You
We have an
seek
entire show
Yoda.
now, basically based off of the armor set of one of the characters introduced in Empire Strikes Back, which is the Boba Fett character and his armor and the whole like
Which is
bounty hunter
Mandalorian.
aesthetic, the whole bounty hunter idea. Sorry
So there you
to
go.
just bring everything to a close.
There you go. So there you go. You got some good stuff in there.
There is some interesting stuff.
Okay, hang
How-
on. See, this is where like my brain like gets really foggy. When they do the space junk escape, which film is that?
It's
Is-
Empire.
When they float off.
Is that Empire?
When
Yeah,
they
that's
just
Empire
float-
Strikes
yeah,
Back.
yeah, so Empire
yeah,
Strikes Back.
right before Cloud City, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Like there's some
You
really
get
good
the
stuff.
asteroid field, man. The chase through the asteroid field. They're all coming. They got the great John Williams music going, and they're like going through like they're
Never
getting
tell me the odds.
You're getting closer to
Yep.
one of the asteroids, and they're going through the ravines, and they go inside, and then lo and behold, it's a big sand
Yeah, the worm thing.
It's an asteroid worm.
And fun fact for all of you who don't care at all about fun facts of my life, but like when the 30th anniversary came out in '97, I was like, oh yeah, I remember seeing this. I like these, so I picked them up from Target and I bought them, and then I got home and I watched them, and I was like, oh, the only thing I remember from Star Wars from my original like viewing as a child was the worm trying to catch the spaceship. I was like, wow, I didn't remember any of that. Sweet. So that moment is really iconic.
I mean, there's a lot of iconic moments. The walls are collapsing. Those aren't walls.
Okay. Let's talk about the character development a little bit deeper.
The
Going
cave
on.
is collapsing. This is no cave. Sorry, I gotta get it right for any of those
Yeah.
fanboys
I
who would
thought
come
you
after
were
me.
talking about
The
the New
trash
Hope,
compactor?
the trash compactor when you said that.
Yeah.
No, and they don't have a line like that.
No. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. It's the cave is collapsing.
Yeah.
This is no cave.
This is no
Sorry,
cave.
everybody.
That's a moon. That ain't no moon. You know, like
Yeah.
they're always doing that. It's kind of
That's
cool.
an ending. This is no ending.
So let's talk about the character development. Why is the character development in this one so much better? Like, what opportunities does the storyline present for us to better understand these characters?
Well, for one, I believe it's a longer movie. It does have more time. It separates the characters and puts them all through unique trials for those characters, as opposed to this is all about Luke and these other characters are sort of in a band. It's an ensemble piece in the first one, which is great for introductions, right? It gives you an idea of which each character is like, the archetype, their general relations to each other. But in Empire, we take the time to specifically test each character in their world. You get Han and Leia separated from everybody. You get C-3PO and R2-D2 and Chewbacca, of course, with them, but it's very much Han and Leia trying to sort out how to escape the Empire, like constantly. Just how do we get away from these guys? And Han's ship keeps breaking down, and that's a struggle for him, and also reflective of how he deals with challenges, but also like his world, what he deals with on a constant basis, and how Leia responds to him, what she's like in the Republic earlier. She's sort of in her own General Leia Organa, right? And then she's talking to him in the ship, and she's not in her element. She's starting off. They're at Cloud City, and I trust my old buddy Lando. I don't trust anybody. This is a really big problem. You get a lot of interactions in specific ways where you've got one or two characters that are really interacting together through obstacles. Meanwhile, Luke, who we have spent the most time with from the first movie, right? Who we know what his story is, and we all care about what he's going to do. We watch him go through some actual trials. Like he's not just it's not just an adventure story where there are obstacles, but they're relatively easily overcome because of the people around. Rather, it is first thing is training. The first thing is, how about you get beaten up by an ice yeti? First thing is, that's the other thing. Just think about iconic moments. The Force moving things. I'm pretty sure it's Empire Strikes Back that starts that. I'm not sure we get the Force moving things as much. Like you get him in the hanging upside down. You hear the creature yelling to come eat him, and he's like, "I gotta get out of here." And you see that he's developed more, right? Where he's trying to get the lightsaber, can't reach it, and then he gets into that Force mindset, and he reaches for it, and he starts seeing it move. Like that's great iconic stuff. It's also some development. Luke has been learning. He's getting better. There's more that you knew about the Force. At the same time, he has to go to Dagobah, and he meets this little puppet man, Yoda, who messes with him at first, and then's like, "You're too young to do. Like you're too old. You're too old to do this training.
Too old to begin the training.
And basically, I don't want to train you because you're gonna mess everything up."
Much fear I sense in him.
And you start to realize what the Force is actually like. Luke is constantly put back, and he can't quite overcome it. It's mental games, it's spiritual things. Like he's got to learn depth in a different way. He can't just run around and get with his buddies and try to blow something up. He's got to actually go through the process of learning, and even then, the whole thing, right, for him is his friends and his emotions and things he cares about are stronger than his willingness to be in the training or to stop and to wait and to think through things. He doesn't care. He's going to go save his friends. He doesn't care if it means he's going to face Vader. He doesn't care if it means doom for all Jedi in a sense. He wants to go save his friends. He's going to go try. And that's part of why we like Luke, by the way. If he really was a Jedi in the strictest sense, we wouldn't like him.
Right, because Jedi are actually like psychopaths with like really bad objectives.
Anyway, the point is we have time to watch him really struggle through just trying to learn what we learn about the Force, we learn about him, and we learn about Yoda, right? And Yoda represents the old Jedi, represents what the Force is about, and small things overcoming big things through the power of a spiritual force, a you know, mind over matter. If you like, there's all that kind of stuff going on. That's all. So the Force is getting character development. Luke is getting character development, and we're introduced as a new character who's also getting character development. And that's just the two side stories that are the main things, right? Like you're jumping back and forth between those two deals, and then you get into Darth Vader's stuff. Because Darth Vader's also getting character development. He's kneeling before an emperor, which we've heard about, but now he's kneeling before somebody. Who in the world is Darth Vader kneeling to? And the things they talk about, and how Darth Vader responds to all the obstacles. How is he chasing people down? What is, you know, that whole thing. And then, of course, ultimately, Darth Vader and Luke confronting each other, and how that brings out the truth that Darth Vader is Luke's father, and Luke's complete breakdown about that. And that's not only wonderful twist and storytelling and writing and all that, but it's really good character development for both characters. Now suddenly you can watch that movie over again and be like, Darth Vader's about what? What is he really doing? Is he really just out to get the rebels? Sort of. He's also trying to figure out this kid. He's trying to find his kid.
Yeah.
Trying to sort that whole thing out.
Well, and you have Luke losing a hand, right? You've
Oh,
got,
yeah, yep.
You know, you've got that going on. You also have, and probably my favorite, you know, Yoda line of like, "Judge me by my side, do you?" You know, like where it's like, I can't lift it. Like it's literally too large to lift with the Force. And then it's like, no, actually, we can lift it because, you know, you just have to figure this thing out, right? And like understand what the Force is and how it works. And what's great is that Luke is consistently failing.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
Like,
well, and you get the moment
the
in the
entire
cave,
movie.
right, when he literally goes into this cave where his fears are going to be revealed, and he chops Vader's head off. The thing explodes, and he sees basically his own face, right?
Right, which I get that, like Campbell and all that stuff with, like, you know, the cave, and that part is probably weak for me. I just I don't. I mean, I get that's like you have to be able to face yourself, and I'm just like, that is too philosophical for me. I do not understand what the crap you're talking about right now.
I mean, there's certainly an element of that would get to you. I happen to love the philosophical parts of movies.
What? The philosophy major?
Likes philosophy.
What?
I know you're shocked by that, Luke.
Shocked.
But, yeah, I it's a good moment. It's a moment that I think it shows one of the great things about Star Wars is that it doesn't necessarily, it tells you a lot without necessarily giving everything away, right? And the big reveal still happens at the end, and unless you happen to know that Vader actually means father in whatever language it is, German,
I think. German.
then yeah.
You learn new things every day.
That it actually is
German,
a legit
like,
shock.
What? Okay.
Imagine watching the movie as a German
In Germany.
in Germany,
And you're like,
Darth Vader. What?
Darth Vader, these Americans.
Kind of like when you're watching, you know, Harry Potter, and it's like, I'm Professor Lupin, and then you're like, oh, see, now that makes sense because you're okay. You're named the thing that you are. Got it.
The Latins. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the movie is for an older audience too. Like the movies are for kids. And at the same time, Empire Strikes Back showed that Star Wars could be in a lot of ways for an older audience. Older kids at the very least, if not adults. You know, adults could enjoy the drama, the story here. It does allow itself to go dark, but when it goes dark, it's not dark for the sake of dark. It's not trying to be mean or ugly or like literally, you know, dark screens. It's like, it's not trying to do that like Zack Snyder. It's about the story of this is that chapter. This is the part where everyone fails. This is the part. And that's the thing with Han Solo is he constantly evades and succeeds and finally gets caught. He can't go any farther. And it makes sense. It doesn't make sense for the smuggler guy to outwit the Empire every single time. By the way, as much as we like to make fun of stormtroopers and how well they can't shoot, this was a movie where whether they could shoot or not, they still won. Like they killed rebels, they blew things up, they stopped them, they ambushed them, they captured them, they put them in prison. They like
Torture. There's torture.
there's torture in this movie.
Yeah. It's I don't like it.
It's a bad deal.
Yeah. Like and
Makes
like
you feel bad.
yeah, in a couple places. Like yeah. Right. Yep.
So
Torture. No good.
it's it's got all those harder things, and it's the bad guys are on the move and they're winning. And what are you gonna do? And even then, it still has a way to end hopefully. Like it doesn't leave you there. It says, well, there's some hope. We're just gonna have to see how this goes because the story's not over yet.
Okay, and so I want to camp on this for just a minute because, and I haven't sat down and rewatched Star Wars in a while, but like, I feel like the Last Jedi was trying to end on a similar note
Yep.
as Empire, and for me at least, it wasn't even close. And I'm wondering if it's because, for whatever reasons, Last Jedi felt like it was like way more spread out, like there's way more people that you're trying to keep track of or something. And so when you get to the emotional core at the end of that one, like I'm not with you. Whereas at the end of Empire, Luke puts his arm around his sister and it's like we're going to go, right? And you're like, okay, those two. Like that's the emotional core right now. I'm focusing on that. I feel that. And now I know where their headspace is, what they're going for, kind of where we are in the world. Whereas at the end of Last Jedi, like it's like, hey, I gave these dice to somebody, and and you're like, I have no idea what the crap is going on, nor why I care right
Han's
now.
dice, nonetheless. They're supposed to be Han's.
Oh, I know,
dice.
but you also have like Finn and Rey who are doing something, but like there isn't that like closure moment of like, here's where we are. Like this is the picture of that.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, Last Jedi has its ups and its downs, and Empire Strikes
Sometimes ups.
Back.
And eventually we'll
worse than
talk
downs.
about that a little bit more directly when we talk about
Not Nottingham.
But
Last Jedi.
Empire Strikes Back.
What?
I mean, that's the other thing is, not only do you get the reveal to Luke, his hand chopped off, and Luke, by the way, Luke chooses to commit suicide in this movie. He does not handle it, does not like it. He says, I will not join you. And it's not necessarily I want to die, I suppose, as much
It's
as
not,
it,
yeah.
it's I will not join you, and I will choose death over joining you. Right?
Yes.
And so I will jump off this thing and die before I will join you. That's how much I'm against you.
But I will use the Force to get me into a trash chute and be okay.
Is it really the Force that he's using?
I feel like he just drops.
I think he's just getting sucked into like a container they're gonna pop out. That was just like an airflow thing. They're like garbage falls all the time. We gotta get in this little chute, get it out.
I don't know.
Doesn't he just like accidentally get caught on like the antenna off the bottom of the Cloud City there?
Well, yeah, he definitely.
Well, that's after he gets in the trash chute, and then the trash chute opens up again and makes him fall, and he kind of grabs on.
Whether or not the Force was used,
But
to get
then
him
he
into
uses
tube,
the Force to contact Leia and say,
well,
"Hey,
yeah,
come back."
but that's very. We know that for sure, right? That's very intentionally shown to us that he's hanging there. He can't do anything. He's got no hand.
Well, see, there is a parallel to A New Hope, though, in the way that Ben sacrifices himself, right? They kind of do the same little head, close my eyes, lean back thing. So I guess I could buy your suicide mission a little bit more.
Well, I just think that he's in that moment and he looks at Vader and he's basically saying, "I will not join you." The whole thing is Vader says, "Join us and we will rule the galaxy as father and son." The Darth Vader in this moment that again, I don't think anyone catches the first time when they get the reveal because they're just so shocked by the reveal. But literally, Vader is basically his mission is, "I don't like the Emperor. I think you and I should get together and rule everything." That's what I think we should do.
It's the way of the Sith, except that's the first instance where we're getting that, and we have no clue what else is going on still.
Well, and this is the rule of two and all that kind of stuff, which is kind of expanded Star Wars lore stuff, is truly expanded Star Wars lore stuff. It shows up later. In the original trilogy, you didn't necessarily have that, and that wasn't necessarily the point. It was just, there's this guy, the Emperor, he made Vader, and Vader finds his son, and whether it's the same thing or not, says, I don't want the Emperor, you and me, let's rule. And Luke says, it's impossible for you to be my father, and I don't want to believe this, and I'm jumping off, and I'm not joining you. Goes down to he's hanging off the thing at the bottom of Cloud City, about to die. And yeah, that's the thing. It's thrilling to me. As a kid, it's not as thrilling because as a kid, you're like, oh, Luke's in trouble. He just got beaten. That sucks. He's like hanging off a thing. That sucks. I don't like any of this. I guess he's like reaching out to Leia or something. Maybe she'll save him. Like, whatever. I don't like this is dumb. As an adult, it's thrilling because it's this suddenly Leia has the Force. Suddenly Leia has some sort of connection, some sort of ability to hear him. What's their connection? How can he do that? And her telling Lando, go right back to where we came from. Do it now. Why? Just do it, right? Like, and that's these good character moments of just like we're
Are
coming
you
back,
crazy?
and then Lando catches him, and yeah, Chewie, I'm gonna rip your arms off if you don't listen to the lady. It's
New strategy. I suggest we let the Wookiee.
yeah,
Let
there's
the
great-
Wookiee win.
But beyond all that, he gets saved, and she's talking to him and the cabinet, and they're trying to escape the Star Destroyer, and there's something about the tracking thing, or like they can't go to hyperspace. They gotta fix that, and Luke wanders into the cockpit of the Millennium Falcon, and there's sort of this, like there's all the action and the loud music and the TIE fighters and whatever shooting at them and everything and chasing, and at the same time, there's this quiet moment of Luke sort of like almost outside of himself, sort of watching everything. And he's like, Vader's on the ship right now. Luke's going through the pain and the suffering, lost his hand, and now he's even more connected to the Force. He's growing already, and Vader's on that ship, and Vader and him are sort of connected, and they're thinking about each other, and they're almost communicating. I don't even remember their used words or not. It's been a long time since I've seen it too, but they're essentially communicating. And then hyperspace gets fixed, and it bursts off, and the whole movie, Vader has killed somebody every time something didn't go the way it was supposed to. Every time the rebels got away, every time they couldn't catch them, someone died. Someone got, it's your turn. Now you're in charge. Now you're in charge. And so they jump off the hyperspace, right? Hyperspeed, right after they said, like, it's fine. We put the thing on it so it doesn't work. We're going to catch them. And Vader's watching, talking to his son, and then the ship jumps to hyperspace, which it shouldn't be able to do. And
Thank you, R2D2.
and he just goes quiet, and the guy behind him, you have a shot of the guy behind him like, I'm about to get choked to death, and Vader just looks out and walks away. Doesn't kill anybody, doesn't do anything, just walks away, pensive. And like, that's like, what does that mean? What's going on with Vader? What's going on in his head? Like, all these little things, these little moments throughout are in a way thrilling, and they have a depth to them because of the performance and what they may indicate, what's beyond just the moment itself. But like, what does that mean in the whole whole thrust of the movie? So there's a lot more depth in Empire Strikes Back than A New Hope or Return of the Jedi.
But it's a more mature depth too. It's you've got to understand and be okay with this isn't going to be rah-rah exciting, will make anyone love this movie, which is what you get in A New Hope and, Return of the Jedi. But I mean, it is a lot more of those little moments that you have to understand and be good with and be okay with, right?
Yes, and I would also say that, I mean, there's lots of comparisons that Avengers Infinity War was the Marvel Universe's closest thing to The Empire Strikes Back because characters split apart, so you have more time with them in these different places. The bad guys on the move. It's kind of their, the bad guy winning sort of movie. Specifically the end, of course, where everything just goes wrong for the heroes and goes right for the bad guys. Except that, again, in Empire Strikes Back, the bad guys win most of the time, and they get some victories, like Han Solo's out of the equation now, and Boba Fett has him and is just leaving. That's bad news.
He gone.
Luke doesn't have his hand. That's a sacrifice. But literally by the end of the movie, he's got a robotic hand, right? And they bring back. Luke is saved, and Leia and Luke are together. Lando's a part of the team. He's going to go help. Him and Chewie are going to go do something, try to figure out where Han is, and they've got a hand back together. And like Darth Vader did not catch them. I mean, if it was the Infinity War thing, Darth Vader would have caught them and killed them, and then it would have been the end of the movie. That's not how Star Wars did it. They said there is hope. There's something to look forward to here. It's just this is pretty bad news.
Right, but what's great about this is that now we have a villain who can actually like take something from the hero, right? The hero doesn't have plot armor. Like it's like in Matrix where it's like everybody runs, you gotta run, and it's like, yep, I gotta run, but it's happening to Luke. So now that in a future confrontation, he's not gonna have that option. He's not gonna be able to like jump off and like run away. Like He's gonna have to do something. He's gonna figure his crap out.
He's got to face his Vader. Is
Yeah.
Vader his father or not? Like how?
Right.
And if he is, how in the world do you deal with that? And yeah, great questions, great character ideas, and Return of the Jedi does a good job in a lot of those things, paying them off. But it's just, yeah, Empire Strikes Back just goes to a whole new level of maturity, depth. A lot of the Star Wars mythos that we love and like is because of Empire Strikes Back. I mean, granted, there's 3 movies that really made the Star Wars universe what we know and love, and there's all sorts of other stuff after that, expanded universe that I enjoyed, and others. Like, I get it, but it's A New Hope. You only knew so much about the Force, so much about any of the characters, so much about Darth Vader, and it was still great, but it was very shallow in a lot of ways.
Right.
And then Empire said, by the way, this and this and this and this and this. Force is actually like this. Darth Vader is actually his father and actually has different motivations than you might think. And Luke's going to really get his butt handed to him because he's not all that in a bag of chips. He might be the hope of the future, but he's not there yet. And Leia's got more to her than you think she has. And Han Solo isn't just the rogue with a heart of gold. Maybe he actually loves somebody. And of course, iconic lines like, I love you. I know. Right? Like,
I know.
So great.
I know.
So great.
Well, and yeah, like just the fact that bad guys win, and that sets it up as now it's a challenge.
Yes.
Right? Like we've actually got to overcome something as
Right.
a group
Right.
that's really good. Video essay and link below.
And it's not even about a super weapon. It's
Right,
not about
it's
that.
not, right.
It's just when we just do our thing, we're dangerous. All that stuff that like the Empire is big and bad and they're hard to deal with and the rebels are on the run and we got a secret base. Why a secret base? Because when they find you, they
destroy
annihilate you.
Yeah. And there's actual consequence. Like there's loss. There's genuine loss in this movie, and not just Luke's hand / lightsaber.
Yes.
Well, gentlemen, I think we have thoroughly vetted The Empire Strikes Back for our viewers. I'm curious
I
tonight
guess you
to
can watch
get.
it if you want to. We're okay with that. We've vetted it for you.
Well, okay, but real quick. So Scott,
Yes,
where do
Luke.
you place this one in your trilogy?
Out of all 25,000 Star Wars properties,
No, Jake, of the 3, like
of the 3 Star Wars
The
properties,
original Star Wars films. This is probably still my second favorite, but I think there's a lot of merit, and it might just be like a 1 and 1B kind of a thing versus 1 and 2 at this point. But I still have Return of the Jedi ahead, simply because
the Ewoks.
so good. Teddy bears, man.
I think you get the full scope of great land battle, great space battle.
Sure. They have all the lightsaber duel going on, but I mean even there, I will just say, the lightsaber duel between Luke and Darth Vader in Empire is so much better and so much like such higher stakes, and like they're going from place to place and Darth Vader's stalking him and stuff. Like there's great stuff there that just isn't there in Return of the Jedi. Like it's great. There's a confrontation. You want to see how it's going to play out, but it's the tension is in my opinion is just so much higher in Empire. The things that go down in Empire, like the way it's done, is just so good.
Well, and I'm not saying it's not, but there's a lot of other stuff that I feel like you don't get.
Sure.
Especially the space battle, but you have multiple great moments in Return of the Jedi. So that's why it's a slight favorite for me. But yeah, there you go. Gentlemen, what as we depart, I want to leave. I mean, we talked about some of the great lines that are part of The Empire Strikes Back, but let's give our viewers your favorite line from the movie. Maybe it's because of the moment, maybe it's because of what the line means, but a favorite line from the movie.
Could I also, since you ranked the position, I'd like to know what your position for Empire is.
It might be third for me.
Third for you?
It might be.
Wow.
I'd have to go back and rewatch them, like, and it might be completely different today, but like, it's probably at the bottom for me from a when I watched them as a kid and again as a teenager.
That's fair. All right, gentlemen, favorite lines.
Well, I already said so I'm just gonna go with the one that I already said. I like the judge me by my side, do you?
Yes. Classic Yoda line. Love it.
Followed closely by I know.
I mean, I know is,
No,
is
that's actually not
it's
my
so
favorite
it's
line.
so iconic.
But it is
So
a fun line.
iconic.
It's a fun line.
I for some reason what just came to my head is the way that Darth Vader says Captain Nida. Like James Earl Jones is just having so much fun in all the lines that Darth Vader has, and Darth Vader has a lot of lines. Like he doesn't have much time in the movie, let alone a lot of lines in Star Wars: New Hope.
Right.
But in Empire, of course, he's like calling people up and finding out what's going on, and yeah, just the way Captain Nida. It's just great. So I know it's completely weird and bizarre, but like
That's what
I
you're
love
gonna
it.
give me. There you go. I'm gonna go back to a Yoda line as well. Shocking philosophy. Do or do not. There is no try.
Well, I actually just flat out disagree. You have to be able to try, otherwise,
There's no doing.
yeah.
Well, Luke is going to disagree with me, and we'll discuss it off
And Yoda.
camera. But thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you again next time.
Or don't. But there's no try, I guess.
Bye.